Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and for today's video I decided to film a tag because it's been some time since I filmed one, and so I decided on a tag that a lot of booktubers do time and time again. I also have already done it once before, but again, first of all, the video is like really old, so you shouldn't watch it, and second of all, this is a tag where it doesn't really matter if you've done it once before. And if you've read the title, you probably already know that I'm talking about the Unpopular Opinions book tag. And now let me just jump right into the questions. The first question is a popular book or series that I hate, and I actually don't hate a lot of books. I usually dislike the books. I can usually see something positive about a book, but this book is just so highly problematic in my opinion that even the story stuff that is kind of positive is just like not worth it. And that is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This book is currently my most hated book that I have ever read. If you want to know exactly why, I have a whole rant review on it, although a lot of stuff that I hate about this book now, I didn't even know when I filmed the rant review, because I read some reviews after that who explain some things that are in connection with Chinese history, and since I read those reviews, I'm like, wow, this book is even worse than I thought. And it was already pretty bad, and my most hated book before that. If I could give this book -stars on Goodreads, I would. I have never said that. I didn't even say that about The Catcher in the Rye, even though I hate The Catcher in the Rye. But anyway, my rant review will be down below, so if you want to know why I hate this book so much, go and check that out. The second question is a book that everyone seems to hate but I love, and I honestly couldn't really think of any books for that, because the books that I love, where I would say there are also a lot of people who hate them, like for example Cassandra Clare's books, they are generally books where you also have a big community that loves those books, so I don't think they really count. So I just went on my Goodreads and looked for the lowest rated book that I rated 5 stars, and that book is Gretel and the Dark by Eliza Granville. I do not understand why this has such a low rating on Goodreads. I think it has an average of 3.5 stars because it's like absolutely amazing. It's dark, it's kind of like fantastic realism mixed with historical fantasy. It's set in Vienna, okay? Do you know how rare it is to find a book that is set in Vienna? I absolutely love it for that reason alone, and I can't say too much of the story because that would spoil quite a bit, but what I can say is that it's a little bit of a fairy tale retelling of Hansel and Gretel, if I remember correctly. Again, it's fantastic realism, it's mixed with historical fantasy, World War II, as well as fin de siècle in Vienna, and it's so great. It's so great. Go and read it. The next question is a book where a character ends up with a character I didn't like, so in a love triangle or a ship that I dislike. And for that I have Emma and Jules from Dark Artifices by Cassandra Clare. Jules is one of my favorite characters of all time. Not just in Cassandra Clare's books, but in general. Jules is such a baby, he's so adorable. I just love him. And he could do so much better than Emma. I do not understand why he loves Emma. There's like literally nothing about her that makes them a good match. Not even as parabatai. She is egotistical and self-centered, and like there's so many times where he could really use her help, and she's just too caught up in her own problems to even realize that. And I think it's very telling that Jules, as her parabatai, doesn't tell Emma some very important stuff where he could use her help, because ultimately he knows that she just won't help him and that she just can't help him. That's why I really don't like this ship. The fourth question is a popular genre that I don't often reach for, and I have a lot of genres that I don't often reach for. I don't really reach for any crime novels or thrillers. Like, let's be honest, I rarely reach for anything that's not in any way related to fantasy. But the genre that I definitely never reach for is contemporary. It just like doesn't interest me at all. I think the only contemporary novel that I have read is Aristotle and Dante Discovered the Secrets of the Universe. I really enjoyed that one though. But aside from that, I'm just not really interested. The fifth question is a beloved character I hate, and as an answer I actually have 2 characters. The first one is Yasna from the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson. I'm not sure how much she counts as a beloved character because there's like actually only so many people who have read the Stormlight Archive series, at least on BookTube, at least from the booktubers that I know. And most of those love her though. I really can't stand her. I can't stand how she treats Shallan. I can't stand the POV chapters that we got in Oathbringer. I thought they were like really unnecessary and I was so tempted to just skip them if I wasn't scared to miss some hints or anything like that. But yeah, she's just an annoying character in my opinion, and I don't like her. And the second character that I hate is not a book character actually, but I just had to choose him because he's so universally loved, and that is Marvel's Loki. And I have talked about this a little bit in other videos, I think, and that is that I think he's just not a good depiction of Loki. Before anyone comes to me and no, he's just like an interpretation of Loki and he's just like based on Loki, he's not actually Loki, but I think he has like nothing at all in common with the god of tricksters. Because first of all, like in original Norse mythology, like at least in some interpretations, Loki was associated with wildfire. How the hell do you get from wildfire to frost giant? They're on opposite ends of like the hot to cold spectrum. How? And then also Loki definitely isn't someone with daddy issues, and he isn't a whiny bitch like Marvel's Loki is. So yeah, I have a lot of hate against him, and I was very happy what happened to him in Infinity War, and I hope to hell we won't see him again in any future Marvel movies. Probably will, because he's like one of the most beloved characters ever, but yeah, I don't like him. The sixth question is a popular author that I can't seem to get into, and for that I have Terry Pratchett. I read The Color of Magic by him, and I do have more on my shelves, and I do plan on still reading that, but honestly I doubt that I will get into him even after that, because while I did enjoy this book, ultimately it's just a little bit too whimsical for me. I like to have a coherent storyline, and Terry Pratchett is kind of just all over the place a little bit. There wasn't really a start and a finish to the story, it was just a little bit whatever, and so I just was like, nah, enjoyed it, but I don't really feel like reading a lot of other books by him. Next is a trope that I am tired of seeing, and I'm going to probably be misunderstood when I say this, but the trope I'm tired of seeing is the strong female character. And I did upload a video on that a little bit ago, so if you want to know exactly what my thoughts are on this and exactly what I mean by a trope that I'm tired of seeing, that's strong female characters, go and watch that video, because of course I love strong female characters, but I just am tired of seeing a very specific type of strong female characters, and that's more or less the strong female character that's basically a guy with boobs, and maybe if we're lucky they also like dresses. Next is a popular book that I will absolutely never ever read. And that book is The Fault in Our Stars. I had no plans on reading it before this summer, but I was like, everyone loves it so much, maybe I'll just watch the movie at one point in my life. I don't know. But as some of you might know, I was diagnosed with cancer this summer, and I did go through chemo for the 6 months after that. No worries though, I'm like healed now. But if I had no interest in reading that book beforehand, I definitely don't have any interest in reading that book now. And actually, like, concerning books and stories with cancer really shows me how much I will need to have to go to therapy concerning like my whole trauma with the cancer, because every time I see a story with cancer in it, it just makes me like incredibly aggressive, and I really don't want to get into why, but I'm just like, why? It's like the most unnecessary stories out there in my opinion, so yeah, we'll never read that one. And then the ninth and last question is, the saying goes, the book is always better than the movie, but which movie do I prefer over the book? And for that I chose Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, and the movie of course is the Studio Ghibli movie by Hayao Miyazaki. And I absolutely love that movie. It's probably in my top 3 favorite movies of all time. It's everything to me. It's so beautiful. I love Sophie so much. I love Howl so much. I love everything about that movie. If you have never seen a Studio Ghibli movie, what have you been doing for your life? And also go watch all of them, especially Hayao Miyazaki's movies. Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke and Howl's Moving Castle are definitely my favorites, as well as Totoro. And yeah, this book just is nothing compared to that movie, in my opinion at least. And that was it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up and also subscribing. Tell me in the comments down below what your answers to all of those questions were. If you agree with some of them, if you want to fight me on some others, fight me as well, because I always love a good discussion. And all the links to my social media are in the description box down below, so go and check those out. And I hope I'll see you soon. Bye!